Good morning from the Stewart Creek Trailhead. Fall is in the air, and today I'm going to be hiking San Luis Peak and then hopefully adding Stewart Peak as well. For a full trail guide of these two mountains, you can check the link in the description below. So your hike is going to start off here, this massive field, and you're going to be working all the way up to the valley. This is my second shot at San Luis Peak. First video I made is several years old and needs a update, and I thought since I'm here, might as well tag a centennial. So let's talk about the road getting in here really quick. San Luis Peak is one of the most, if not the most remote 14er in the state. 20 plus miles of dirt road. Say 90% of the time you can get here with a passenger car with careful driving. It's not really very rough roads. There are some times in the spring, especially when the snow melt is happening. There are a couple creek crossings, assuming you're coming from up north. Those creek crossings can get pretty high. I'm going to be hopefully adding on Stewart today. I have no idea what my total mileage will be, but I know that Stewart is about 2.5 away from San Luis Peak, so I'm expecting like a 18-ish mile day with the both of them. I'll try to zoom this in so you can see, but I've been smelling them the whole morning. There's a beaver right there, hard at work. I was just gonna say there hasn't been much to show you, but there is a big bull moose up in there. Just gonna give it its space here. There he is. We're gonna keep moving, let him be. Might be able to see him right through there. I was kind of waiting all morning to see a moose, just because this is moose territory. There it is. Whew. Anyway, just over 2.25 miles in, about 600 feet of elevation gain. Really hasn't been much to show you. Just working along Stewart Creek. This time a much smaller one. I see it. It's taking the same trail I am. Let's see. Huh, there she is. See her right there. There's another look at her. What's crazy about that moose in particular, I mean, obviously you can't really tell, but it's a huge multi-100-pound moose, and I just did not hear it until I was about 10 yards away from it, and it just took off very silently. It's just a crazy animal. How much power, how large they are. They just move so quietly. You can check everything I'm using on this hike in the description below. Really basic 14er stuff. Lots of food and water. Yeah, maybe hiking poles. You can support the channel by shopping all virtual Sherpa gear as well in those same links. Finally opened up a bit. Get some nice views of the surrounding peaks here. Basically going to continue up and eventually go left. Very humid today. Not used to this here. You can tell there's a tropical moisture in the air. It's just opened up. Tree line is behind you. Take a look. This valley here. Very pretty. Here's a good look at your next steps. So I'm going to keep working up, basically start going left. Go up this slope here, head up that slope, and then left to San Luis Peak, which is out of view right now. I just looked at the GPS, and as a straight line, as the bird flies, peak's about 1.5 miles away. Still, with everything I still have to do, I'd imagine about 2. So this is a little preview. Once you tag San Luis, you're gonna take this ridge, basically go out of sight to Stewart. Looking back down, so switch back. There, getting to the ridge, And yeah, beautiful views up here too. Really, really pretty. Up on the saddle now, it's about 13.1. Show you San Luis Peak in a second. It's in a cloud right now. Been so long since I was up here. Last time Juno and I did Handy's Peak in the morning and then drove over here, snagged a summit sunset of San Luis Peak. Still have over 1,000 feet to go of climbing and just about a mile. So that's the summit, literally in a cloud. And from here, you're gonna kind of take this path, join the ridge, and then all the way up to the summit. Everything up here looks deceptively close, but it's so wide open. It's very far away still. Huge White Mountain vibes right now with these low hanging clouds, the high humidity. Am I in New Hampshire? What a scene up here today. Absolutely beautiful. So there's the summit, San Luis. Finally on the ridge, more cloudy views. So on the way back, you can follow the cairn there if you're gonna go to standard route down San Luis and then just retrace your steps. But if you're gonna go to Stuart, you can just gain this little hump and then start descending and just stick to the ridge as much as you can. So that is Stuart Peak. It looks pretty close. Well, maybe not in this camera, but in real life. But it is like 2.5 miles away, and you can see lots of elevation gain too. Summit of San Luis Peak here. Just about 3,500 feet of elevation, and again, just very moody up here, but very pretty. So I'll give you some views before giving you a preview of what's next. Just over 3 hours from Stuart Creek Trailhead to the summit, so making good time as I have a lot of miles to go still. Next up, you're gonna work your way down the ridge, and that's the first summit. I think it's Alto Baldy or Baldy Alto, I never can remember. And then you're gonna continue on up to Stuart Peak, which is right there. Might be able to see some hikers up there, but leaving San Luis Peak behind. Basically starting the descent here, but don't go too far down. You're gonna basically take a left, leave the nice trail, and start bushwhacking. And by that I mean you just don't have a trail anymore. I'm sure there are a million different ways to go to start your traverse over to Stuart Peak, but this is kind of the route that I have drawn out, so I'm going to be following it as best as I can. Regular trail goes down there. I'm going to go left. Okay, so to orient you here, you came from up there on San Luis. This is kind of the bump you might have been staring at, and you have to go this way. So what I'm going to do is trying to go down to the saddle and just cut straight across instead of gaining this for no reason, hopefully. Weather's clearing up, and I'm almost at my first kind of objective, which is this little saddle. I'm going to go down and then start climbing to Baldy Alto first. San Luis Peak. So basically what I did was cut across, down, cross, over. Climbing up to the ridge. Baldy Alto, about a half mile away. Baldy Alto, right in front of me here. So I was hoping I could kind of skirt around, but it's just not worth it, not safe. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to climb Baldy Alto and then come down the ridge there and then go to Stuart. Finally on the ridge of Baldy Alto here. So far, just low class 2. I'm just so mad I can't cut across because this is so much gain for no reason. Mountain gives me strong Hellingwood Ridge of La Plata Peak vibes. Just super rugged. Summit of Baldi Alto, that's looking back to San Luis, that one. And then looking forward to Stewart. Bring you up to speed with mileage. Just about 8.25 miles, 4,000 feet of elevation gain, 1,000 loss, and obviously going to be adding to that here shortly. Although it might look close, you still have over a mile of hiking left to go to get to Stewart Peak, and obviously you're going to have to not have a straight line, so it's 1.2 miles as the bird flies, probably another 1.5 miles here of hiking. Luckily, you can see that looking down and over to Stewart, it's pretty grassy, so hopefully I can move pretty fast here. When you start heading over to Stewart over here, don't go this way, just go straight up. You'll find a social trail. I put some cairns there too. Basically, you'll get on top of this ridge and take it all the way around. It's way better than going here or going down and over. So this is the best way. Summit right there. Looks like the right side is dinner plate, so I'm gonna go around the left. I gotta say, this peak is kicking my ass. It's just, I don't know, it's kicking my ass. All right, summit of Stewart Peak. Oh, I'm wiped. This one was very tough. Pumped to be here. Give you some views. About 10 miles of hiking, about 5,000 feet of elevation gain, and the moodiness of the clouds continues. Just looking at the summit registry, hasn't been someone up here in about 3 days, which is a bit surprising actually. I'm surprised how many people have been in here in the month of August. But yeah, this was tough. I mean, this is really, really tough, and I'm not looking forward to all the elevation I have to regain on the way down. Definitely gonna end up with a 6,000 plus foot vertical day, and probably gonna end in the 18-ish mile range. Yeah, another Centennial in the books. I have no idea how many this is, but this is definitely dog friendly if your dog can do a long day. And in terms of gear, yeah, I mean, you're gonna want a GPS. I'm gonna stick to that high ridge that I showed you guys on the way back. So to give you a preview here, obviously I gotta go down there, but then I need to go up Baldi Alto, down there, and then basically Stewart Creek is on the other side of this ridge and goes all the way out there. Okay, so headed back to the San Luis area. Baldi right in front of me. It might seem really enticing to cut across here, but don't do it. There's just big cliffs, loose sand and dirt. It's not worth it to save a 1/4 mile of hiking. So just go gain the summit and descend the way you came up. Second time up Baldi, soul crushing. Just brutal. Summit of Baldi Alto right behind me. Mileage update 11.6, 5,200 feet of gain. Big climbs are done. Theoretically, you could go all the way back over, takes San Luis Standard down. I have no desire to do that. So what I'm gonna do is go here, take this slope, and reconnect with the standard trail right around there. If you do decide to do what I'm doing, just be very, very careful. Don't go down right here. Go over here a bit. If you go down too soon, there's some really nasty cliff bands that you do not want any part of. Okay, so this is the saddle right here that I'm gonna take down. I know that once I get low enough, it's just gonna be willows everywhere. So my strategy is gonna be to stick to a stream bed, basically, because I know that from the hike up, the stream beds were dry, and also they intersect with the standard trail down there at some point. About halfway down now, just about to hit the willows, and I couldn't have had better timing. Looks like the weather up there is finally nasty. It's been kind of cloudy all day, as obviously if you've been watching you can tell, but I haven't had any signs of rain or thunder or lightning. But I think my time is running out, so glad I'm almost down to a point where it's fairly safe. Well, minus only about 20 feet of really thick bushwhacking. My plan worked out. Back on the regular trail now. Some of these willows are huge. I'm pretty sure there's like a full-blown male moose back in there somewhere, but you can only see the top of his antlers. As I was walking through, I was like, man, it'll be my luck right now to just stumble upon a sleeping moose in this thick brush. I have absolutely nowhere to go. Just get annihilated, but luckily I did not. I got probably about 4 miles to go before I'm back at the car. I can call this one a day. Just about a mile and a half left in the hike here. Thought I'd give some wrap-up notes on San Luis Peak. So, yeah, I mean, if you haven't been in this area before, this is a long approach. Basically, you have 4 or 5 miles of just working along the creek here and getting back to where you can start climbing. Adding Stewart Peak, it's not efficient at all. There's a much easier way to just tag Stewart by itself. But if you're looking for a nice little loop, lollipop loop, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely a pretty good option. I'm going to finish today about 18 miles and just about 5,500 feet of elevation, so quite a day. There are other ways to hike San Luis Peak. We're actually going to walk by one in a couple days here, not in this video of course, but on the Colorado Trail you can access San Luis Peak from the south and just in general from the south as well. And then Stewart Peak you can access from basically the east instead of the south. So if you're looking to do that, not have this behemoth of a day, certainly an option. Another note just about this area is it's really just awesome back here. It's so quiet, it's so remote. I've seen more animals on this hike than I think I have in the last 5 combined. You really just get a sense of wilderness here. So yeah, I mean, even though San Luis and the other two are not like technical beasts or anything like that, this is a worthy hike if you've never been in this area, because it's just really beautiful. I am very tired. I have high anxiety right now because I left my campsite without a car and just put a little sign there, hoping to God that it's still there and no one's a douche taking it. That is going to wrap up my trail guide here of San Luis Peak, Stewart Peak, Baldy Alto. For a full trail guide of all 3 of these peaks, you can check the links in the description below. I'll have San Luis separate than the other 2, just so that if you're just watching this video for that purposes, it's easy to figure out more information about San Luis. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it at all helpful. It just helps my videos get seen by more people. Having said that, I do virtual trail guides. I have all the 14ers. As I mentioned, I think this was 100 for me. So I have many different routes, winter, spring, summer, and fall. So check the 14ers playlist if you want to watch more of those. The channel is great. There's all kinds of stuff here, but also the website as well, virtualsherpa.com. I have hundreds and hundreds of hikes, not just in Colorado, so go ahead and use that search box. It's going to be your best friend. I'm a pretty big noodle right now. I feel like I'm just rambling into the camera, so I'm going to wrap up this video now, but thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.